Watch three things that seem to have nothing in common. First, a Newton's cradle. Lift one ball, let it fall, and only the ball at the far end jumps away, as if something invisible marched straight through the middle. Second, a rocket. It hurls burnt gas downward, and somehow climbs upward against nothing at all, pushing on its own exhaust to reach space. And third, two cars slam together and crumple. Chaos, glass, metal, noise. Utterly different scenes, yet each is ruled by the same single quantity. A cradle, a rocket, a crash. Hidden inside all three is one bookkeeping quantity that never changes. Hold this question. By the end you'll name it on sight. What is it that survives every collision, every explosion, every kick? Two objects, rushing toward one collision. Center of mass and linear momentum. Today you learn how a tumbling, exploding, colliding mess of objects still obeys beautifully simple laws because of one special point and one quantity that nature refuses to lose. Let's find the survivor. Take any handful of particles. The center of mass is nothing mystical, it's just the average of their positions, but weighted by mass. Heavier particles get more vote. Write it as one vector equation, rcom equals 1 over the total mass, times the sum of each mass times its position. Drag the heavy particle around, and watch the gold star chase it. The com always leans toward the mass. And notice, the star sits in empty space, where there's no particle at all. The center of mass is a location, not an object. For a solid body the sum becomes an integral over its mass, but you rarely need it. If a body has a line, point, or plane of symmetry, the com lies right on it. A uniform ring, a rod, a triangular plate, the balance point is obvious by eye, even where, for the ring, there's a hole in the middle. Now the payoff, and the whole reason this point matters. Throw a hammer to unequal masses locked together. The masses tumble wildly, end over end, impossible to track. But keep your eye on the gold star. It doesn't wobble. It traces a single, perfect parabola, exactly as if the hammer were one tidy particle. Master the com, and the chaos becomes simple. Here's the law that makes the star behave. The net external force on a system equals its total mass times the acceleration of the center of mass. The com moves as if all the mass were concentrated there and every external force were applied there. Why only external forces? Because inside the system, every push comes with an equal and opposite push, Newton's third law. They cancel in pairs and can never move the com. An object can't lift itself by its own bootstraps. Watch the classic proof. A firework shell arcs upward on a parabola. At the top it explodes, internal forces only, huge but perfectly paired. The fragments scatter everywhere. But the center of mass. It doesn't notice the blast at all. It keeps sailing along the very same parabola the whole shell was already following until a fragment finally hits the ground. That's F equals ma com in action. Now name our survivor. Momentum, P, is mass times velocity, a vector, pointing wherever the object moves. It packages two things that matter in a collision: how much stuff is moving and how fast. A heavy truck crawling and a light car racing can carry the exact same momentum. Big and slow, or small and fast, momentum doesn't care how you split it. Watch them keep pace. Add up the momentum of every part and you get the total, P, which is just the total mass times the velocity of the center of mass. And here's Newton's second law in the form he actually wrote it: the net force is the rate of change of momentum. Why bother when we already had F equals ma? Because this form survives a situation the old one can't, when the mass itself is changing. Hold that thought. It's exactly what a rocket does. In a collision, a violent force acts for a tiny sliver of time, and we almost never know its exact shape. So we don't try. We add it up. The impulse J is the force integrated over the contact time, and that integral is simply the shaded area under this spike. And that area equals the change in momentum. That's the impulse-momentum theorem, a whole messy force replaced by one clean number. We can even trade it for an average force times the contact time. This is the whole secret of safety engineering. Your change in momentum in a crash is fixed, you must stop. But you get to choose the shape of the force. Both of these patches have the same area, the same impulse. On the left, a hard dashboard, a tall, savage peak in a few milliseconds. On the right, an airbag stretches the same stop over far longer, so the peak force collapses to something survivable. Crumple zones, bent knees, a catcher giving with the ball, all the same trick. One more subtlety that surprises people. If a ball just stops against a wall, its momentum change is mv. But if it bounces back, the momentum doesn't just vanish, it reverses. The change is now 2mv, twice as big. A ball that rebounds delivers a bigger impulse than one that merely sticks. Bouncing hits harder. Put the impulse idea and the system law together and you get the crown jewel of this chapter. If no net external force acts on a system, its total momentum simply cannot change. Inside a collision, the internal forces are enormous, but they cancel in pairs, so the total sails straight through, untouched. Here's the cleanest example. A skater stands still on frictionless ice. Total momentum, exactly zero. The gold total arrow has no length at all. Now she throws a ball forward. The ball flies right, gaining positive momentum. But watch the gold total. To keep it at zero, the skater must slide left with exactly the opposite momentum. She recalls. That's why a rifle kicks, why a swimmer shoves water back to glide forward, why a rocket throws gas down to climb up. Every recall is this one law. And momentum is a vector, so conservation works direction by direction. Even if gravity acts vertically, the horizontal momentum can still be perfectly conserved as long as nothing external pushes sideways. Pick your axis, and the bookkeeping holds along it. Every collision conserves momentum. Always. What separates one collision from another is kinetic energy, and it splits them into three families. Elastic, kinetic energy is perfectly conserved, think billiard balls or atoms. Inelastic, some energy leaks into heat, sound, and dense, so the final kinetic energy is smaller. And completely inelastic, the bodies stick and move off as one, losing the most kinetic energy that momentum will still allow. Momentum survives all three, only the purple energy bar shrinks. For the sticky case, there's a formula worth memorizing. One moving body hits a stationary one, and they lock together. Momentum in equals momentum out, So the combined body moves at m1v1 over the total mass, always slower than the incoming one, because the same momentum is now shared by more mass. When both momentum and kinetic energy are conserved, the two conservation laws fully pin down the outcome. Send cart 1 into a stationary cart 2. Before impact, all the momentum is in the blue arrow. The gold total already marks the answer we must keep. They collide, and the momentum redistributes, some to cart 2, the rest staying with cart 1. Notice the colored arrows both change, while the gold total holds perfectly still. That's conservation, drawn live. Solve the two laws together and out come these final velocities, with the target at rest. They look busy, but two special cases tell the whole story. Equal masses, the incoming cart stops dead and hands its entire speed to the target, exactly what you see in a Newton's cradle. And a light body striking something enormous, like a ball off a wall, simply reverses, bouncing back with almost all its speed. Two formulas, one intuition. Glancing collisions look harder, but the trick is the same. Momentum is a vector, so it's conserved component by component. Resolve everything along to perpendicular axis and write one equation for x and one for y. After the hit, the two objects fly off at their own angles. The x equation says all the sideways momentum still adds up to what came in. The y equation says the up and down momenta must cancel, since there was none to begin with. Two equations, and the picture is solved. And there's a gorgeous special case. If the two masses are equal and the collision is elastic, they always fly apart at exactly 90 degrees to each other. Break on a pool table with a clean elastic hit, and the two balls separate at a right angle every single time. Now for the case F equals ma can't touch. A rocket is a system that loses mass every second, flinging burnt fuel out the back at some relative speed. Its own mass shrinks as it flies. Watch the red bar drop while the rocket climbs. Apply momentum conservation to the rocket plus its exhaust, and two equations fall out. The thrust is the burn rate R times the exhaust speed. And the speed you gain equals the exhaust speed times the natural log of the mass ratio start mass over end mass. But look at that logarithm, it's brutal. Because delta V grows only as the log of the mass ratio, the curve flattens fast. To double your speed gain you have to square your fuel ratio. Big velocities cost outrageous amounts of propellant, the tyranny of the rocket equation, and the reason a spacecraft is mostly fuel, and the reason we throw away empty stages. Three particles, 1.2, 2.5, and 3.4 kilograms, sit at three spots on a plane. Find their center of mass. No physics tricks here, just the mass-weighted average of each coordinate. Total mass 7.1 kilograms. Weight each x, add, divide, about 8.3 centimeters. Do the same for y, about 5.7. The gold star lands here, pulled toward the heavy 3.4 kilo particle, yet floating in empty space where no particle sits. A 150-gram ball hits a wall at 25 meters per second and rebounds the other way at 22. Contact lasts 4 milliseconds. Find the impulse and the average force. Because the ball reverses, the velocities carry opposite signs, so the change is large, 7.5 kilometers per second. Divide by the 4 millisecond contact, and the average force is nearly 1800 newtons from a tiny ball. And remember, it's the bounce, not just the stop, that makes it hit this hard. A 9.5 gram bullet buries itself in a 5.4 kilo block hanging on a cord, and the block swings up 6.3 centimeters. Find the bullet's speed. The secret is that this is two problems, not one, and you must not mix them. Stage 1, the embedding, is completely inelastic, so use momentum, never energy, because kinetic energy is lost in the crunch. Stage 2, the gentle swing, conserves energy. Chain them together, and that tiny 6 cm rise reveals a bullet speed of about 630 meters per second, measuring a muzzle velocity with nothing but a ruler. A half-kilo ball at 4 meters per second elastically strikes a stationary tenth of a kilo ball head-on. Both final velocities, please, straight from the one-dimensional formulas. Cart 1 keeps rolling forward at 2.7, the light target shoots off ahead at 6.7, faster than the incoming ball. A quick check confirms both the momentum and the kinetic energy balance perfectly, the signature of an elastic hit. Finally, a rocket of 850 kilograms, 720 of it fuel burning exhaust at 2.5 kilometers per second, starting from rest in deep space. How fast is it going when the tanks run dry? Dry mass is 130 kilograms, a mass ratio of 6.5. Feed it into the second rocket equation, and the final speed is about 4.7 kilometers per second, still less than twice the exhaust speed, even after burning 6 times its own weight in fuel. That's the logarithm, quietly taxing every gain. Let's gather everything in one breath. Hidden in any system is its center of mass, the mass-weighted average that moves by F equals ma, driven only by external forces. Momentum, P equals mv, is the quantity that law really governs, and its rate of change is the force. Impulse is the area under the force, equal to the momentum change, the reason airbags work. And the crown jewel, with no external force, total momentum is conserved. It rules every collision, elastic, inelastic, two-dimensional, and even the mass-shading rocket. Here are the 8 equations that solve almost every problem in this chapter: the COM, Newton's law in both forms, the impulse theorem, conservation, the sticky collision speed, the 2 elastic formulas, and the rocket equation. Screenshot this one. And 3 traps that cost real marks. 1. Never use kinetic energy conservation in a collision where things stick, momentum only. 2. Momentum is a vector, a bounce flips its sign, so watch the minus. 3. Internal forces, however violent, never move the center of mass. Only what comes from outside can. Because under all of it lies one unshakable idea: in an isolated system, momentum is never created and never destroyed. It only gets traded from one body to another, the survivor we promised you at the very start. Next time, we take everything you learned about a point moving in a straight line and let it spin: rotation, torque, and angular momentum, momentum's twirling cousin. If this finally made collisions click, subscribe, and I'll see you in chapter 10.